Hey, what's going on, Wealth Dynamics Nation? This is Jerry Fetta, founder and CEO of Wealth Dynamics. I want to talk to you today about one of my mentors, old dead guy, very successful, but I want to talk about some of the things that really influenced my viewpoint on this week's Wealth Walk. All right, Jerry Fetta here. We are talking this week on Wealth Walk about some of the main things that have shaped my viewpoints as it comes to wealth, right? And I want to share this with you because this is more important than the mechanics. A lot of times we get lost in how to do something, which service to use, which investment this, which life insurance carrier that. And that's all of the lower level bottom of the scale, right? Like, okay, here's the ingredients, right? But if we were to create something, let's say we were a baker and we were making a cake, we would probably think first about, okay, well, why are we building this in the first place? Why are we creating this in the first place? Why are we baking this in the first place? And then we'd look at, okay, well, what's actually like desired, right? What's the goal here? Why are we doing this? What's the goal? Where did the recipe come from? These are all things that I would ask and want to know about. So on this week's Wealth Walk, I want to share with you what my focus is on, some of the main viewpoints that I have, and the reason why my philosophy is the way it is. Mine's very different than some of the other people out there that you might watch or listen to. And mainly because my focus is not just on wealth for the sake of wealth. It's not just on passive income for the sake of not doing anything anymore. I believe that, as an individual, if you can produce, if you can grow wealth, if you can, really do that, you should create a wealthier life for yourself. And I believe the definition of wealth goes back to its original definition, which is now obsolete, meaning they canceled it, which literally meant happiness. Wealth meant happiness. How many times have we been told money can't buy happiness, right? That was literally the definition of wealth. At one point in time, that was the definition of wealth, was it meant happiness. If you were wealthy, you were happy, right? Why? Because wealth wasn't just money. We reduced it down to this one-dimensional, you have money, you've got riches. And here's the thing. Some of the poorest people in the world are those that only have money. If you only have money and you're in bad physical condition, bad mental condition, bad spiritual condition, your marriage isn't doing great, you don't have a good family life, you're not doing well with work or your church or the other communities that you're a part of, or you live on a planet that's falling apart around you, right? Or, the forests and the seas and all this stuff are being polluted. All of this stuff, right? Or it's like you've got money, but you're such a miser, you don't live where you want to live or drive the things you want to drive or eat the food you want to eat, right? It's like, okay, well, where is the wealth at? Right? It's not just money. We want to go back to the original definition. And so when you look at where did the word wealth come from, my definition of it means abundance and prosperity in all dynamics of life. Right? And that's something you create. You create that, much like an artist creates a painting. Okay? Creating is an activity. The current condition of your life and finances, good or bad, that's your creation. Hey, you want to see a magic trick? Get a copy of my book, Blueprint to Financial Freedom. I know it's in front of my chest and my face because I want you focusing on the book and not me for a moment before you go back to focusing on me and the content. That's your masterpiece. You took the brush, you took the paint, and you made what you have right now. And guess what? If you don't like what you have right now, you're the artist. You've got the brush in your hand, paint something different. You don't need to continue creating something you don't like. What would you want the life of yours that you'd really like to have? What does it look like? What does it look like? And that's where the financial aspect of wealth comes in, is it will take resources to build that life, just like it's going to take paint to paint that masterpiece. You can't be like, well, paint isn't everything, and paint is the root of all evil, and paint can't buy you happiness. Okay, yeah, but if you want to do that picture, you need some paint, dude. You can't do it without paint. If you want to live that life, you need some money. You can't do it without money. Okay, so it's a means to an end. It's a resource for you to create with. Whether you create something good or whether you create something bad, 100 solely depends on you. You and you alone. It's not someone else's, like, oh, money makes them evil or money makes them good. No. The person was evil and then got some money. So they did evil stuff with it. The person was good and they got some money, so they did some good stuff with it. So here's a figure that's really influenced my viewpoints and attitudes when it comes to wealth. And this is a man that is America's first billionaire, arguably the wealthiest person in American history. It's between him and one other guy. The other guy was a complete asshole, so I don't want to look at his stuff, right? But I want to give you some quotes here from a man named Andrew Carnegie. Okay, Andrew Carnegie. And so he wrote a book called The Gospel of Wealth. The Gospel of Wealth greatly influenced my life, the way that I think about money, and honestly, society today, right? So Andrew Carnegie, he has a quote. I'm going to read a couple of these. No man becomes rich unless he enriches others. No man becomes rich unless he enriches others. This comes from a man that was America's first billionaire, right? His net worth today, in today's dollars, was over $370 billion, which would make him the richest man in the world. Bigger than Elon, bigger than Jeff Bezos, right? Bigger than even Rockefeller, right? And the legacy that Carnegie left behind, he's actually, I think he started 2,500 libraries across the United States to create literacy for children. He donated every cent of his wealth before he died. And so he says no man becomes rich unless he enriches others, right? Here's another one. Wealth is not to feed our egos, but to feed the hungry and help people help themselves. Wealth, financial wealth, is not to feed our egos. It's not, we're not building wealth to be like, oh, look at me. I have so much money and I've got a big net worth and I've got passive income and I'm such an able and important person and I want to stroke my own ego. He's saying, no, you should be using that to feed the hungry, right? And help people help themselves, right? You can't help yourself if you're starving. So let's take care of those people. If we've got surpluses, he's saying the wealthy have a responsibility in society to actually improve conditions, to help other people, to look at those that simply aren't in the same position. Right, and this is not going to be a popular concept I want to talk about today, but there are individuals on this planet that are more able than others. We're not all created equal. You can't look at somebody that's homeless and say, well, they have the same equality as Jeff Bezos. No, they don't. They don't have the same horsepower. They don't have the same intellect. They don't have the same drive. They don't have the same ability level. We're all different in that. Doesn't mean we go around judging each other over it and saying, oh, I'm bigger than you, or you're smaller than me, or look at that person, they're not as able. No, it means that those who are more able, you have a responsibility to take care of those who aren't. Not in a weird, sympathetic way, but like his quote says, to help people help themselves. People need a hand up, not a hand out. Right? And so if you're more able, you should be focusing on how do I give people a hand up? How do I build my wealth so that it helps? I want to give you another quote here from him. All right, there's one here. He says, the man who dies rich dies disgraced. The man who dies rich dies disgraced. Okay, what does that mean? Dying rich, like dying with a lot of money. Okay, we've heard these quotes like you can't use it when you're gone. So we know that that's the case. It's not like it's going to be around. You're not going to be around to use it. You can't like take it with you for, heaven or hell or your next life or whatever you think is going to happen. Right? So he's saying if you die rich, you die disgraced. Why? Because you died with a full tank of gas. Right? When you die, at least when I die, I want to know that I did everything I could to make this planet better and more free than when I found it. For my loved ones, for my communities, for mankind, for all the nature and all the beauty on this planet, for society. I want to know that I really gave it my all. And so if I were to die and I was like, well, I've got, $400 billion or $300 billion or whatever the number is that Rockefeller died with, right? For me, that's a disgrace. I agree with Carnegie on this. I would say the money is probably not going to be around in the next 200 or 300 years anyways. We already know from one generation to the next, most fortunes are squandered. Not many of them last 2 generations, even fewer of them last 3 generations, right? And it's like part of the game of life here is coming up and learning how to produce and learning how to win this game of life. And if you're setting up your kids and your grandkids and their grandkids to never have to do those things, to never have to lift a finger, to never know what it's like to live a strenuous life because they had it easy because grandpa took care of everything and now they don't need to work anymore, you're actually creating weaker people. Hey, what's up? Jerry here. I just wanted to give you another reminder. Grab my book, Blueprint to Financial Freedom. It's going to be one of the best books you have ever read on finance. I can promise you that. You're going to love it. It's also a free offer. So if you go to jerryfetta.com/B2F promo, you can get that now. You're creating weaker people. You're creating problems. You know, the wealthy that we study throughout history, that they're basically just, you know, they're idle. They don't do anything. They travel and they eat well and they buy stuff, right? You look at them and they're not usually happy. This is where we get stuff like money can't buy happiness. That's because happiness doesn't come from money. Happiness comes from creating a wealthy life, a life of abundance and prosperity in all areas. This would mean that you're creating work, you're creating value, you're creating relationships, you're creating all of these different things. And sure, you need money to do that. But if somebody says, hey, I'm just going to give you all the money so that you don't have necessity anymore, there's no danger in your life, there's no need for you to survive, there's no struggle, there's no fight left. You win before you even started. Do you know what you create? You're going to create unhappy people. You're going to create boredom. You're going to create criminality, and you're going to create problems. Okay. So if I leave a bunch of money, I want you to think about that. Now, if I don't die rich, meaning when I die, I'm like, hey, all of my assets, they're going to help, right? They're going to put churches there. They're going to put charities. They're going to put libraries. They're going to put gymnasiums, theaters, colleges, schools, etc. And that's going to actually improve the world I'm leaving behind. That's what Andrew Carnegie did. That's what Andrew Carnegie did. He died penniless, guys. The wealthiest man in American history dies penniless. What a news story. What a headline, right? Not because he squandered it, but because he decided, I'm going to give all of this away. I'm going to be known for creating more libraries than any human being in history. I'm going to be known for creating more gymnasiums than any human being in history. I'm going to create colleges. I'm going to create theaters for artists to be able to learn and hone their craft. I'm going to create communities. I'm going to make the world a better place for every human being who lives after I do. Right? I love that. I love that. I think that that is a huge game. So for me, that's a goal. Right? So I have a son. My goal is not to make it to where he's generationally wealthy. He's going to have to figure it out just like I did. Now, does he have the playbook? Certainly. Does he have some tools I'm going to set up for him? Certainly. Does he have a lot more than I had starting out? Certainly. But under no circumstance will it ever be a trust fund baby. No. Right? Just like everyone else, we need to play the game. We need to win because that creates ability. That's what life is. That's what life is. You know what I mean? So I'm focused on, I want to donate. I want to establish things that help people. I want to make this planet better because that's going to last longer than the paper dollars that we have. That's going to last longer than the life insurance policy that I use. That's going to last longer than the real estate, which will turn into a dilapidated house over the next 200-300 years. But if I create real legacy for me is things that are intangible: knowledge, spirituality, right? Peace, unity. Like these are things I would look at. How do I invest in that so that this world is better when I leave it behind? Okay. So I wanted to share that with you this week on my wealth walk because I was thinking about that and I was like, man, I feel like we overlook this part, right? We started on this trend of like, I want to build wealth because I don't like my job. I want to build wealth because I don't get to travel and do the things I want to do. They're actually negative reasons. They're not positive reasons. You want to build wealth because you don't like something. What if we were to change the paradigm there? We were to say, I want to build wealth because I do like something. And I want something rather than I don't want something. I want this and I want that. And it's not just self-centered around me. And it's not just me and the other 4 bodies that live around me. Of course, you're going to benefit from building wealth. I'm not saying you won't. Your quality of life will go up. Your family's quality of life will go up. But if it's just you, your spouse, and your 2 kids doing well, and the whole world around you is collapsing in on itself, that's not a wealthy life either. So it's got to be bigger. It's got to be bigger. And that's my focus right now this week on this week's Wealth Walk. That's what I'm paying attention to, right? And that's what I want you paying attention to. That should always be the end game. You're going to live so long, you can't take it with you. It's not going to be good for your kids and grandkids for you to give it to all to them so that they don't have to do anything. And if you can teach them, hey, we have these family resources and assets, and our responsibility is to use them to make the world a better place. I want you to imagine the impact of that. So that's all I've got for you this week. I'm going to tune out. Thanks for watching. Grab the book if you've not. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you next time.
Hey, this is Jerry Fetta here. I want to thank you for watching my video, watching my content. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to learn more about the blueprint to financial freedom and how you can achieve passive income that exceeds your savings, your expenses, your taxes, your generosity, and build wealth like the top 1%, I want to encourage you, grab a copy of my book, The Blueprint to Financial Freedom. You can go to jerryfetta.com/B2F promo, or you can click the link in the description of the video here. The copy is free. You cover your shipping. We'll send the book out to you, and we'll send you an email with a bunch of great bonus material also for free. Get the book, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you on my next content.